Hello, and welcome back to the Double Radio Gamescast. As always, I am your host, Ryan, and I'm joined by my lovely cohort of co-hosts. They're all here, they're all back. We've figured out the technology of the cameras.
Finally.
Wyatt.
Hi.
Good reaction time there. Brett.
I'm never first.
Hello.
Alex.
I'm striking a pose for some reason.
Great. We were all dancing during the intro playing, except you couldn't see the dancing, so we're here now. I hope we're all ready.
No, but okay.
What a high level of excitement we've got going into today's show. So today, we're talking about Tokyo Game Show. We're talking about what we've been doing recently, because we haven't been talking about games that we've played a lot recently, which is what this podcast was ostensibly started to do. So we're gonna do that, and then we also got some Tokyo Game Show news. We've learned a bit more tidbits of information about Elden Ring and Final Fantasy 16. It's always refreshing to hear. Can I get a hooray, Wyatt?
Yeah.
Great. There's
Good.
the excitement that I need for today's show.
Oh, he's freeze framed.
He has freeze frame.
We have to roll the credits.
He
Well-
did say he wouldn't have a lot to say, so I'll just be stuck there for a while, I guess.
There we go. I hope you know I did actually start rolling the credits when you said we have to roll the credits.
That's awesome.
I do have the ability to do that. All right.
Perfect.
So we've got some regular games news from this week, and then we'll get into Tokyo Game Show. So to start out, we have had a God of War Ragnarok debacle going on, and I say debacle, but there's been no controversy here at all. So Christopher Judge, who I believe does the voice acting and mocap for Kratos. I was like, who's the God of War? It's Kratos. Had
That minor character.
had to have hip replacement surgery and knee surgery, and that is ostensibly the reason that he believes Ragnarok is delayed, is because of his recovery time and not being able to record his lines and whatnot when they were originally planning to, not when they needed him to, because God of War is a franchise big enough where like a couple months of delay isn't going to hurt them. Right?
He played the
Yeah.
game on Give Me God of War mode, and that's how he ruined his hip.
Yeah, so I really don't think this is a negative, and I also want to give it out. I've seen nothing but like love for this guy and for Christopher Judge after this. Like, this is absolutely, things happen, and you can't blame yourself for a game getting delayed, because in reality, AAA, it probably would have gotten delayed anyway, right?
Yeah,
So I'm betting this just gives
especially
them,
during the past year.
during the pandemic time, just gives them a little more time to polish the game, and hopefully that means we'll get something a little bit less buggy than many modern AAA things. Cough, cough, cyberpunk. So,
Although for the most part, I've come to expect that like when it's a PlayStation game, with a very few exceptions, they always come out like super polished and bug free.
yeah.
Unless you're me.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
a
good
different
disclaimer.
story. If your name is Wyatt,
You're out of
Just-
luck.
just don't even bother. Just don't even try.
Very true.
Don't play games. Immerse yourself in the finance world.
I stopped playing games 5 years ago. I barely understand what you guys are talking about anymore.
My God, he's
Uh,
becoming a lawyer.
All right. So New World has had a troubled launch, as I'm sure all of us are
Expected.
aware at this point, with the incredibly long queue times happening and the servers just not being prepared. This happens with every MMO all the time, so it's a lot of people are blaming New World specifically for this. I don't know. I'm just like, this has happened with every single MMO, and New World got like a huge blast of popularity right before it came out that I
Don't
don't
hate the
think they
game,
were
hate the players.
thinking they were going to get. And I mean, yeah, it's also the situation of, I talked to this about Wyatt earlier, but there is just a global shortage of computer parts, and that's affecting server production as well, to where if they don't have the servers ready on the back end, they're not going to be able to get them ready in a short time span. You got to go through a whole process to get that stuff done. So, thing to remember with servers, especially while the pandemic is still going on, and you can't really have people easily traveling to make sure the servers are doing good. All right.
I have been hearing a lot of positive things about the game in general, though, which is
Yeah.
I've been hearing mixed. The positive things I've been hearing are from people that enjoy the like grind fest style of game,
Mhm.
which is generally the kind of MMO player that I think I personally tend to not agree with on a lot of things. So I think it's very much going to be a polarizing game, not in that the game is bad, but in that it's very much for a specific subset of people.
But hey,
yeah.
considering, because this is the exact same, this isn't like not even under the Amazon Games banner. This is the same development studio
Yep.
that made
Crucible.
Crucible, everyone's favorite, whatever the heck Crucible
Shooter with a
was.
lifespan of like I think 2 weeks or something before it
20
almost got shut
minutes.
down.
It's the only game that I've ever heard of that was so bad that it was put back into early access after its official launch, which
And then
is just
canceled.
amazing.
Because they were planning on releasing it again.
It canceled.
Yeah.
Well, they stripped away a lot of the other modes and just like kept one mode and wanted to like work on that one because they had this weird like MOBA thing, and then they had
because
like a
Crucible
Battle
was super
Royale mode.
confused, where it had like 4 different
Yeah.
game modes, but none of them worked even remotely similar.
Imagine playing 4 completely different kinds of games with the same set of like heroes. Like it was a mess, absolute mess. So what I wanted to say was massive improvement.
Yeah, I
I'll
will
say
say
that
the
much.
main kind of complaint about New World that I've been hearing is that so this New World was very PvP focused from the beginning, but with that beta they originally did, I think it was the first like public beta they did, they had to very quickly shift gears to be more PvE focused because people were complaining constantly that like the thing people don't realize with PvP MMOs is there's a very vocal group that clamors for them, but that vocal group is not very large. And you can't sustain a game on the money coming from that group unless it's a very small game with very small development costs, which is why there's a lot of like indie PvP MMO style games that are doing pretty well. When it comes to AAA, you really gotta like expand your audience to be bigger. And New World realized that. They went back and basically all the PvE stuff we're getting is stuff that has been added very quickly in that window. So the major complaint so far that I've seen is that it just feels like the content is just going to stop at some point. Like there's just not enough there to support a game that's meant to be played over and over for months on end, right? Because it's an MMO. It's not meant to be a one and done game. You're supposed to stick with it, and it doesn't seem like it has that sticking power. Then again, you also don't need to pay for it monthly. So is that really a problem? I don't know. I think for the $40 asking price, if you're getting $40 to whatever you think that is worth it for your entertainment time, then hey, worth it. So
I will also say that the title New World is a 2-word title with 1-word title energy.
yeah.
Completely just nebulous.
It's also
like,
weird because it
could
is
mean anything.
I like that the game has this colonial aesthetic, but New World just brings to whenever I think of New World, I now think of Native American and the Indian controversy and everything, and like all the stuff that wasn't so good about the quote unquote New World.
Whenever I think of New World, I think of a worse Greedfall.
Yeah, like I think Greedfall
Honestly,
just treated it with a little bit more nuance.
Honestly, I think of Age of Empires 3 because a lot of that was like exploring what would become the United States as well. So
yeah, I know I'll eventually end
what I
up
think
playing
of.
New World. I just don't know when it's going to be because I'm a massive MMO person, even though I don't tend to play one for very long.
But you have an even bigger backlog right now.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why I haven't picked it up, right? Is I don't plan to play it right now, and Endwalker is about to come out for 14, so I'm like, you know what? I don't really... Nothing's going to pull me away from 14, so...
Yeah.
I was about to do
gamer
a, you
bandwidth.
play Final Fantasy 14 joke, but I think I've done that like 5 times, so I'm just gonna...
That game's just really good, though. See, that's the thing.
No, that's fine.
I can
That's
wholeheartedly recommend Final Fantasy 14. I don't think I'll be able to wholeheartedly recommend New World.
Just as long as everyone's okay with becoming a Final Fantasy 14 podcast, then, you know.
Hey, there are
We're on the
multiple
same
Final
page.
Fantasy 14 podcasts that have far better viewership numbers than we do.
That's not hard. That's such a low bar to clear.
Oof. Double
We're
oof.
speaking to an empty... We might as well be speaking to an empty room right now.
Oh, no. We got our few
Don't say
handful
that.
of faithfuls in
We
here.
do,
All right.
we do.
So...
Don't insult our viewers, Wyatt.
Moving on
No,
from New
never.
World, because I know we're going to
Don't
end up
insult
talking
me.
about New
I'm
World
viewing
again.
this.
We have some news that I completely thought had already happened. Blue Point Games is the PlayStation Studios.
Because
Studio
it
now.
did, and then
Yeah.
they realized, oh no, we did this too early, and then they deleted the tweet, and then they announced it again.
I was getting.
Aw.
I was just like, they made Demon Souls remake. Of course, they're PlayStation Studios.
Yeah.
But I guess they hadn't officially been. So they're officially PlayStation Studios now. It'd be cool to see what they do next.
Yay.
So, I don't really know if anything changes though, because they always did PlayStation exclusive stuff anyway.
Well, because
Yeah.
It's like when they
now
bought Housemark. It's like, oh, I thought you were already part of Housemark or part of
Mhm.
PlayStation, but that's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
now the situation is different for Bluepoint though, because now is the time that they said that they're focusing on making original stuff and
Mhm.
not
Yes.
just remakes over and over again.
Though, man, I still would love to see that rumored Bluepoint Metal Gear something.
Oh, Ryan,
and
haven't you heard
speaking-
the new rumor?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Brett.
The new rumor is now not that the game that needs a remake remaster is getting a remake remaster, but that instead the Konami has assigned the company that brought Dark Souls Remastered to the Switch to do a remake remaster of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Look,
Aw.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is definitely my favorite, so I'm not gonna complain if Metal Gear Solid
It
3 lands
doesn't
on the
need
Switch.
one.
But it does need to be on the Switch.
It's just like port it, but it does not. That game does not need a remake. Like
are you gonna
ever,
do?
probably.
How are
I
you going to
think-
accomplish the Psycho Mantis thingy with a Switch?
That's
Well,
not
that's-
in Metal
that's
Gear.
in
It's
PS1.
a
That's the
different
first
game.
Yeah.
But I feel like all of the games need to come to more platforms because trying
Well,
to
I mean,
yeah.
the
play
big one
them
is 4.
is a nightmare. Yeah,
Most of
4,
them are
yeah.
available
4
on,
is
only
on
on
PlayStation
PS3.
stuff, but like 4 is impossible to get on anything but the PS3. Even
Yeah.
you can't even emulate it unless you have like a super beast computer that can brute force most of the game, because it just used so many weird things about the PS3 that it's not.
The
really
PS3
emulatable.
can't even run it well.
I know.
Well, no, I think it needs because like it needs the Mass Effect trilogy treatment. Of,
Yeah,
like,
just get
all of
everything
them in
together on
one
one
game
platform.
and just put it out on modern platforms and PC and
Especially, I want
You
them to
know-
include the original 2 games too, Metal Gear 1 and 2,
Yeah.
because those games are
'Cause
actually
they-
very fun.
I'd like them
they
to see,
have-
I'd like them to have the pixel art ones.
Yeah, that's what Ryan
Yeah,
just
that's Metal Gear 1 and 2.
That's
was
one and two?
talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's they have the
Oh, it's
I have
solid,
the PS3 like compilation that's just on like 2 discs in one box that just
Yeah.
has every single Metal Gear before 5 on like one thing, because they had Metal Gear 1 and 2 included in the Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 HD ports that they have on almost everything, not
Yeah.
PC or Switch. But yeah, no 4 or 1. Sad.
It's a shame. But I will add that the part of the reason they think they're going for the remake of 3 is that 3 has updated assets from the pachinko machines,
Oh my god!
because they redid a lot of the cutscenes for 3 to put in the Metal Gear pachinko machine. So they exist.
Okay.
I
Our-
can't imagine watching the things that made me like tear up in a friggin' pachinko game.
I mean, that'd be
All the
so.
context
hard
just
to watch.
obliterated.
And while we're
Um,
talking about Konami remastering MGS3, apparently they also want to revive Castlevania and Silent Hill.
Yeah, so
along
so
the-
what
Yeah.
they have specifically
Sounded down with
stated
Castlevania.
is that they want to allow more developers access to their IPs, specifically
Finally.
indie developers, which I would love.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
give me some
Ooh.
crazy indie Silent Hill game, some crazy indie
Yeah.
Metal Gear game. Like, just
Silent
let
Hill
these
Pachinko.
franchises become like Star Wars Extended Universe type insane. I would love that.
Mm.
It'd be
You know what
so
would be
cool.
great? You know what would be great is if, like in this amazing roundabout way, if they gave the Castlevania franchise to the guys that made the Bloodstained games, that would just be perfect.
Well, because
they're
they're
the
the guys that
Castlevania
made
team.
Castlevania.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
Castlevania team.
Like how great would that be?
That's the thing, is that I would be very shaky on them doing that, because they're not going to give Metal Gear back to Kojima, because
Yeah.
Kojima hates them. They're not going to give Castlevania back to Castlevania Man, because he doesn't like them either. They're not going to give
Oh.
Suikoden, back to the Suikoden guy because he's already doing.
I mean,
his
he's
own
doing his
other
own project
that's
that
just
looks
Suikoden.
better.
Exactly. Yeah. So many of the devs have just moved on. That the thing that I didn't know about that I'm hearing that they want to give it to indies for the first time, which is good because this entire time I've been really shaking at it because I would love for more of those games to not be touched by Konami ever again and just be made
Yeah.
by other people, because we've seen what they've done with Silent Hill games that weren't made by Team Silent and with Metal Gear games that were made by soulless, enslaved, poor people that did not have
But Brett,
a choice.
imagine a Metal Gear game made by someone who grew up playing those games and is now just a crazy indie developer. Like, I want that so bad.
Yeah.
And then throwing zombies in there.
No. Get him out.
Please don't. Please keep Metal Gear Survive away.
Put him in either of the other two where they would fit better.
All right. So that's our main actual news articles. We could talk about Genshin Impact getting review bombed, but like I don't think any of us care. So
no,
it is.
Wait, no, hang on.
Yeah.
Weren't Genshin Impact players review bombing other games for something?
That also happened, but that's a long time ago. Genshin Impact is getting review bombed because their anniversary event apparently doesn't have good enough rewards, which I get. It's a free-to-play game, and if they're giving bad rewards, why do you want to keep playing the game? My advice: just stop playing the game for a little while. Then they'll get the message. All right, great. Moving on. Nintendo's denied the existence of the 4K Switch again after rampant rumors that it was coming. They have now publicly denied it for like the fourth time. So
you're saying there's a chance?
So the main thing with this is the most directly they have shut it down. Like before, they've kind of just been like, "Oh, it's not happening right now."
They don't want it. I don't think they want it affecting Switch OLED sales. I think it's
the big thing. There's that, but it's also you can't lie to your investors, right? That's not a thing you can do. So they have directly shut down. Nintendo of Japan directly shut down the idea that the 4K was happening. The only like leeway in there is the soon bit where it's not happening soon, but I would not keep your hopes up for it right now. I think we all know it's going to happen eventually, right? We're either going to get a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro. The question is just kind of when and what shape it's going to take. And 4K just seems like such a weird thing for the Switch to try to do.
It's not what it's shooting for, I don't think. It's just not. It's not in the cards. It's not one of the gimmicks that.
I don't think, like, unless they dramatically increase the size of the Switch screen, you're not going to get a lot out of having a 4K screen on such a small.
Well, I mean, they're not saying the 4K is going to be the tiny the handheld screen. They're saying the 4K it's going to do 4K output, which like makes more sense than the handheld screen being 4K, but still, it's just the kind of thing of like I would much rather the Switch go for higher frame rates and more consistent handling of games.
Yes.
So we can actually get some like other multi-platform games on the Switch instead of just being restricted to PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Yeah, I think that like consistent like performance, like minimum 60 frames per second for things, but also like one thing that I miss going from PS5 to anything else is like SSD.
Yeah.
It makes such a big difference. And I feel like if they really wanted to...
So the Switch is using flash storage, which is what SSDs are. Mm-hmm. So the Switch does technically have the same type of storage. I just think it's not as high of a write speed as you would actually get from an SSD. So hopefully it would be nice. That's an easy change to make. Sure. So I'd assume it's coming. I think the big thing is the Switch needs more internal storage because the like 30 gigs, 16 gigs they give you is not enough.
Excuse me, soon to be 64 as of October 8th. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's
look, I just shoved a like 500 gigabyte SD card on my Switch and called it a day. So I just have that in there and I'm doing fine. All right. Now let's go on to our actual major first discussion topic, which is the Tokyo Game Show stuff. And I want to start with something that's tangential to Tokyo Game Show because it's not actually from Tokyo Game Show, it's from Famitsu, but it is kind of in that Tokyo Game Show sphere of it was probably done to hype up good old Elden Ring in the same time frame. So there's been an interview with Famitsu, and the Elden Ring developers, Kitao, or one of the From Software developers, Kitao is his name. So this interview was just kind of an outline and giving more details about, like, concrete details about what the game is about.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where we've seen them talk bluntly about the game, which is very nice.
Finally.
Because we have answers to a lot of things. The only thing I want to preface this with is all these translations are from DeepL or Google right now. We don't have like a hand-translated version of this available.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these translations sound very weird. But I think we can get the gist. So the main thing is they said it is open world, but the game is going to encourage you to not go to certain areas, or it'll tell you when you're out of your depth, is kind of the language they're using. To where it's going to make it very clear that you shouldn't be in certain areas if you are not good enough to be there or aren't powered up enough. They've also said the game is a little bit easier. It's designed to be more approachable than the other Souls games, but it is still a Souls-style game where it is still going to have that difficult combat and difficult curve that is designed to be challenging.
Was this the same case when they were talking about Sekiro? Was that supposed to be more approachable? Or?
No, Sekiro's a different beast. They have said this game's going to include Sekiro mechanics, so it is going to include the stealth, basically from Sekiro. I don't know about grappling hook, but it's going to include the stealth.
Stealth in a Dark Souls-esque game?
I mean, this is a type of game where it's very useful because that means you don't have to deal with those enemies in actual combat. So I think that'll be a fun way to play the game, is trying to do like stealth runs for at least parts of it. Of course, you're still gonna have to fight the like bosses and whatnot, but there's
gonna be some way around a lot of them. I feel like you can jump from a high off place and hit them in the head.
I doubt it. Knowing the Dark Souls devs, I doubt they will put shortcuts in for the bosses. I think they'll put shortcuts in for a lot of other things.
Of those. Yeah.
They'll give us one dragon that we kill by like launching a spear in its head or something.
Mm-hmm.
As they always do. Otherwise, I doubt it. We're getting horses called, I believe it's Raymas, they've said they're called. So you get your horses, and they're spirit horses in the main open map. So you can't use these in the dungeons, but you can use these in the open map. And you can fight while you're on them. So they've said that there will be certain bosses and whatnot that you can fight in the field on your horse. With like bow and arrows and magic and whatnot. That sounds very cool. They've also said you have the option of like you can continue to fight while on your horse against like regular enemies, or you can get off and engage them in regular combat. So lots of details about how the open world is working. And they've also said there's not going to be any kind of fetch quests or anything. It's not that sort of game. So it's still more of that exploration based thing that we've come to expect from the devs.
Yeah, but are there radio towers that unlock more parts of the map?
I wonder, Wyatt, are there radio towers? We're just gonna...
I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
It's gotta fix the stream has frozen real quick, so I'm just gonna pop those back into working position. But we're doing good. There we go. Alright, so now into actual Tokyo Game Show. Unless anyone else has more things they want to talk about with Elden Ring.
And why I want it to come out. That's it.
That's a good
That's it.
frame of mind to have. Just wanting it to officially be released.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even matter if it's finished or bug tested. Just give it to me.
I just want it to officially be a thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tokyo Game Show. The first thing I want to bring up is Akumi Nakamura, because we all love Akumi Nakamura here.
Yes.
All right, Akumi Nakamura is great.
We are all fans.
She kind of vanished after we learned that she was no longer involved with Ghostwire Tokyo. So we learned she was no longer involved with Tango Gameworks and had left to pursue her own projects. We now know she is working on a new Gungrave game.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Oh,
That's
you
a shame.
need to brush up
Does that
on
even
your.
surprise you though? Does that even?
No,
surprise
it doesn't.
You?
But you
No.
need to brush up on your strange, weird PS2 anime shooter.
Well, that's why we're gonna turn it
games.
into a series, right? Where I just play a bunch of weird stuff, and then you guys laugh at me the whole
and
time.
not like any of it, and the jokes won't change for the entire series because nothing will.
It'll be a great character arc.
An
It'll be
arc
the
implies
Wyatt character arc.
change.
All right. So we all, I'm sure, wish the best to Akumi Nakamura. We don't know very much about her involvement with this game. We just know she is involved, presumably in some sort of character designer or enemy design role. Okay, moving on. We got some more news about some random JRPG franchises. Has anyone else here played an Atelier game?
No.
So Atelier, the wonderful Japanese franchise where you play as alchemists trying to make better things. You go in and make your potions and whatnot, right? And you sell them for money to people, and you fulfill their requests. It's a lighthearted JRPG. We're getting a sequel to one of the older games, and not the new ones.
Weird.
This is just
That is weird.
Okay.
very strange to me.
Okay.
So
Was it one that didn't get a third before? Because I know they usually come out in trios.
So they usually come out in trios. This one's a weird scenario because the game that's getting it is Atelier Sophie, which came out like, I want to say 5 years ago or something. It's not particularly new. So I'm very curious as to like what is going on that made them go with this. It just seems very odd to me. So I'm curious to see how what this is actually going to mean for it, because it's just the kind of thing where I don't fully understand where they're going with this. All right. I would highly recommend, though, anyone who gets the chance to try an Atelier game, try it, because they are wholly unique experiences of low stress RPGs.
I've heard they're good, yeah.
They're good in bursts.
VR on Steam.
Yep, there's quite a few on Steam. They go on sale for very cheap very often. They're not expensive games. All right. Hey, Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise is happening. We're getting a weird Final Fantasy game.
What Final Fantasy game isn't weird, Ryan?
Yeah, but this is exceptionally weird because the protagonist
one might
listens
be
to
the
Limp
weirdest.
Bizkit.
We can call 15 just bad, not even weird, just bad.
No, yeah, that's just bad. That's not weird. That's just bad. I don't think anyone has a problem saying that.
Yep.
Ryan, there have been some extreme tinfoil hat theories.
Oh,
about
I've
this
seen them.
game.
I have seen them, and I'm excited.
This could be bonkers. This might be the weirdest Final Fantasy game.
So
and
for
that's
anyone who's
saying
missed
something.
what Stranger of Paradise is, it's Final Fantasy Origin. It's a prequel to Final Fantasy 1.
This isn't the we have to kill chaos.
Yeah, no, this is we have to kill chaos.
Oh, that's what
we
it
have
is.
to kill chaos.
Final Fantasy, we have
It's
to kill chaos.
developed by
My mission is to kill chaos.
It's developed by the Neo devs, so it is not an in-house Square Enix project. It's an action game that is heavily based off of Neo. And it's wild. It's the second demo has just come out for PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think Wyatt and I have been playing a bit of it. I don't know if anyone else has gotten a chance to play it.
I have been playing it.
I've been
Please
watching
pick
other
your
Ryan
jaws
play
up
through
off
the whole
the
thing.
floor. I have been playing it.
Wyatt has tried it and vented to me about how frustrated he is that he's not good at video games.
No.
That being said, it was pretty cool.
I think it's got a super cool progression system of you have the job system where you unlock your things, and you can unlock like advanced classes based on the base classes you unlock, which is super cool when you get things like the Black Mage, and the Jagroon was a really fun one where I got the ability to do the jumps, and I was like, oh, this is great. The difficulty felt a little weird in this demo, where I think there were certain spikes of
weird. It felt weird. Oh, did it?
I feel like they were trying to give you a good look at the gamut of difficulties, but man, that boss is tough for certain builds. It feels like you don't have room to cast spells if you need to cast spells. It's the kind of thing where like it feels like there's going to be very much specific builds that are more suited to killing bosses.
Ryan watched me go up against that boss like maybe 10-15 times in the span of like 10 minutes.
I still haven't beaten that boss. I haven't tried that many times, but I haven't beaten it yet. So
It was pretty pathetic. I went back to go grind to see if I could beat him, and I still couldn't do it. So I kind of noped out because I'm like, I'm good.
yeah, good for now. It definitely like got some really cool abilities and whatnot. I love the magic system of using the left stick to like select your spell and then charging it up to get a more powerful version.
Yeah,
that works
looked
really
really
good
satisfying.
in the like
Anytime-
speed of combat.
Anytime a melee combat game gives you the ability to punch people with giant gloves, it's always super satisfying. So that
Yep.
was a lot of fun.
And Final Fantasy always has fun monk classes.
And
So-
and
Yeah.
I gotta say, being able to holster the gloves of which you punch people with is amazing.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course.
I loved it. I loved it. You
Would
don't
you
just
have
keep
it
the
any
gloves
other
on.
way?
You holster them like cowboy 6-shooters on your belt, and it was great.
Yep.
Totally unnecessary, but it was awesome.
So I am gonna skip over. There is a lot of news from Tokyo Game Show that is just like, we've learned that there's one extra boss in Shin Megami Tensei 5. We've learned that Forspoken has some cool magic. We already know this, so I'm not going to talk about most of
That was
And the
showcased
best
in the
script.
trailer.
Tokyo Game
And
Show.
the
Is
best script.
look, I do want to point out none of us have actually watched all of Tokyo Game Show because it does happen at like
No.
1 a.m. our time and goes until 8 a.m. So it's not possible for us to fully watch it. So we're going through the major things that happened, including Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier.
Oh boy.
This is
Oh,
the
yeah.
the mobile
The
battle
thing everyone
royale,
asked for.
Oh, mobile.
which I continually love that this game gets like specific showcase times during
Mhm.
Square Enix's press conferences. They like set a time ahead and are like, "This is the Final Fantasy battle royale time." It's such
We
a
know you want it so bad.
They
No,
This
were
is
you
going to
want
be
it.
the game that makes us bank. It's going to happen.
they weren't the studio or the company with the guy who came on stage and said, "You have phones, don't you?"
no.
Who
That's
was that?
Blizzard.
What? No, that's
No,
Blizzard.
yeah,
That's
that was,
Blizzard.
Yeah.
That's Diablo Immortal, which I still don't know what
Oh,
happened to
yeah.
that game. I think it's out, maybe.
I actually heard it was
reduced to
good.
atoms.
Like I heard like previews for like an early version of it were like actually pretty positive for what I remember. But
Well, yeah, that definitely happened. But I think the thing is, people want to be able to play Diablo on their console or their PC.
it doesn't matter if it's good. It
It's
doesn't
on the
matter if
phone.
it's
I don't want to play Diablo on my phone. I think
Exactly.
Diablo 2 Resurrected has shown that of like people are clamoring for a new Diablo because that game is doing
Mm.
well. So I'd love to see it. We've learned that Sega is working on a mysterious new RPG, also only for phones, called Sin Chronicle.
Kill me now, please.
Wow,
God.
another. It's nice to be able to look at my list and put a definite no on some things.
Yeah. It's really easy.
Yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate because a lot of these JRPGs that are showing up on mobile are things I would want to play if they
Oh,
were on a
totally.
different platform. Like Fantasian is the big one. If
Yeah,
Fantasian just,
Fantasian.
and I don't even care if it's on Apple Arcade. Just like give me a way to use Apple Arcade on a device that isn't a phone and isn't like an
Mhm.
Apple TV, and then I would
Oh.
use it. But it's like I have a computer here, I can't use it. There's no way for me to play that game. Even though I
Yeah,
would
but
give
your
Apple
computer
money for
doesn't
it.
have the Apple logo on it. That's the problem. That's your fault.
Yeah, well, my computer has a
Ryan.
graphics card, so
It
That
doesn't have
Apple.
it doesn't have a half-eaten apple on it. That's your. That's
My
your
computer can
problem,
run
Ryan.
Unity.
That's your fault.
The Monster Hunter Rise is coming to Steam in January 2022, and we've
Yay.
learned, at least tentatively, that it will be launching with update parity with the Switch version, and it's going to get Sunbreak at the same time. As of right now, that could change, but as of right now, that is what's expected, and it looked really good. They showed this; it is ultra-wide support, better mouse and keyboard controls than World did, hopefully, and a whole bunch of fun stuff of higher frame rates and whatnot. Like, I can't wait to play this game again on PC.
I can't wait to
but
play it, period, because it looks so much fun.
Rise is really good, and this feels like it doesn't look visually spectacular most of the time, but man, does it plays like butter. It's so smooth. And that's on the Switch, like locked 30 frames, so I can't wait to see this running at like 120.
Mhm.
So that's going to be great when it comes out. And we've also learned Monster Hunter Stories 2, getting more DLC. That's free, including new monsties. Did y'all know that the monsters in Monster Hunter Stories 2 are called monsties?
I would
Yeah.
rather have it no other way, right?
I thought you were about to say I would rather
What
have
else
not
are you
known
gonna
that.
call them? What else are you gonna call them?
Well, you're a rider instead of a hunter in stories, so go off.
Yep. And we did learn, so Game Pass got a bunch of Shadow Drop additions.
Yes.
Scarlet Nexus, the Somnium Files, and Mighty Goose. And I just got to throw out, look, I'm going to recommend both Scarlet Nexus and the Somnium Files. I haven't played the Mighty Goose. But if you have Game Pass, you owe it to yourself to try the Somnium Files, at least for a little while. Because it's such a good narrative adventure. Feels great. It's such a great game.
Casually scrolls over to my Xbox program app thing.
Program.
I will give people. I do have one tip for anyone.
I'm looking for the Xbox program
who plays the Somnium Files. The Somnium Files, don't look anything up because it is a game that's very easy to spoil. But you'll have a choice very early in that game between two bird cages. Pick the left one first. You'll get to see what happens with the right one later, but the left one first preserves some of the mystery for later, which makes the stakes a little bit better for a while. It's not a huge difference, but it is the kind of thing where I think you'll have more fun if you do the left one first. And then make whatever choices you want. But that's the only one that I listened to that advice and I had a great time. So that would be my advice to anyone playing that. All right. That's base.
I'm sorry. We can't overlook the most important Game Pass edition. Marvel's Avengers.
And overlooking Marvel's Avengers up next.
Up next. We're basically done. This is Tokyo Game Show does not have a lot that is particularly relevant to most people. I think that there were some other things, like we got some release date announcements for things. We know that Stranger of Paradise is coming March 18th. That's basically the main bits of news. Now, we don't have information from the third day yet of Tokyo Game Show, because I don't think we have translations for that, which was today, the day we're recording this. So we might be missing some tidbits of information from indies from today. I think everything from Square has been translated and whatnot, but we're not getting a lot of actual information outside of that. All right, we do know Swery's making another game, though. Y'all don't know who Swery is?
Oh, yes. I know of him.
I knew Brett would know this, but Swery is one of those, he's like Suda51. One of those like Japanese game developers where you say their name and certain people just have like a visceral reaction.
I know what it means when you say Suda51. I understand that.
I don't know either of those.
Suda51 is the No More Heroes guy.
Yeah.
And
he's
the Lollipop
also
Chainsaw guy.
Yeah.
Is there... I have no idea. I haven't played it. Is there controversy with him?
No, it's just they're wild games.
They're
cool.
It's like Kojima, where like when you're playing a Suda51 game, you're playing a Suda51 game.
Yeah.
With Swery, you're playing a Swery game.
That makes sense.
And Swery's made some cool stuff before. I believe he was Deadly Premonition. It was the first like major project, and then he also did more recently worked on I think it's JJ Macfield and the Isle of the Missing Something. And that game is really cool. It's where you like rip your own limbs off to change how you platform through environments. It's a very unique game.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but they're all very... Once you play them, you know whose game you're playing. All right. With that, we're going to move in to the what we're playing game. We're going to talk about what we're playing. Because we all play video games sometimes. But we're calling it the game this time.
I consider myself a gamer.
That is the game.
Good. Good job.
It's the gaming game. It's the game.
Gaming with the game and the game in the gaming.
Yep.
Game.
Good one.
Not gang.
In addition to the conversation, gang game.
Okay.
Right, well, to everyone who's still here, let's start.
So I do think we're going to start with Alex, because Alex has not had a lot of chance to talk during our discussion about Tokyo Game Show. So Alex, what have you been playing recently?
He looks distressed.
Twisted.
For those of you listening, he just threw up peace sign. Just in case.
This is the gang that I'm a part of, Wyatt. Two games immediately popped to mind. I I'm still a slave to Destiny, so that I'm not going to mention that. Other than that,
Mm,
Get it out of here.
unfortunate.
two things. One of which is a mobile game.
Shame.
Fire Emblem.
Egad.
Fire Emblem Heroes, which is
Okay.
it's it's the same. Mostly the same. A little bit more confined into a little area. Fighting mechanics is Fire Emblem Heroes with rock paper scissors in multiple ways. With you got your red, your yellow, or your red, your green, your blue, sword, axe, spear, bow, magic type. Anyway, so been playing that. Every time I come back to that game, they keep on having these massive summoning events where they keep coming up with new and then old and then new characters again. They just keep on having these huge events where it's like these big discount on, summoning orbs, here you go. And I had a lot to spend. And I
Yeah.
ended up getting a good amount of 5-star heroes in like the first 3
You've
times
been
I
looped
did
into
it.
the gacha.
Yeah.
The
It's
gacha's
Yes.
got you.
that is the only gacha game I will play. I have tried Genshin Impact.
Well, Fire Emblem
and
Heroes, as far as gacha game goes, is a pretty good
yeah.
way to reduce your financial strain.
The
So
bar
they're
for
pretty
being
nice.
not that bad is pretty, my hand can't go past my floor, but
Yeah.
it would if it could, as far as the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So
But no to Genshin, yes to Fire Emblem Heroes. There's that, and then slightly before the podcast was started, giving you a little peek behind the curtain of what we were talking about, I was lamenting to Ryan why I now know why there were so many negative reviews of Super Hot Mind Control Delete, which is the
Mm.
sequel to Super Hot.
It's like the roguelike
Successor?
thing that they
the
did
roguelike?
next. Yeah, it's a roguelike. Kind of. Kind
What?
of. It's weird.
There are
What?
elements to its roguelikeness in some specific stages.
Super hot?
Yeah.
Roguelike gets you in the right headspace for it. There isn't really a
Um,
better descriptor.
Uh,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't. Do I issue a spoiler word? How do I word my way around this without
For the thing
spoiling
that you
it?
told me about, just don't tell me the story significance. Just you can say
Okay.
it because I think
Um,
everyone knows about it at this point if they're interested in that game.
Yeah. At the end of the game, after you're forced into a few levels or you decide to finish it, um, it makes you wait for anywhere from 2.5 to 8 hours without you able to be doing anything on the screen. You can't exit out, otherwise it pauses the timer. You can't make your computer sleep because the timer stops then. If you exit out of the game, you have to restart it from the beginning of the levels that it forced you to go through from the end, and you don't have the option to back out. And you're stuck in a crappier version of the game before that.
Professor,
Yes, Wyatt?
why?
What a
Good
great
question. Good question. See, the developers, from what I've read, we're talking about it being that time limit being anywhere, and I'll finish this first. Talked about the time limit being a chance to reflect and enjoy the game that you played.
Most pretentious thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, have you ever played Super Hot? It's a little pretentious.
It's but that's
But
like
it seems like
enjoyable.
self-aware pretentiousness.
It's not pretentious. It's just shattering red guys. It's the
Well,
catharsis of seeing shards.
and I don't even like, and I'm mostly talking about the first game. It's like that pretension was kind of there. I didn't hate it, but I kind of like noticed it. Like it was kind of weird where a game where you just shoot red crystal dudes has this
I'm very
weirdly
dismissive.
cerebral plot.
I'm very dismissive of the beginning and the end of both of those games. I just like the meat and content in it. But and I was reading things where it's like they thought that they were being generous with the 2.5 to 8 hour time limit where you have to wait. They were initially going to do it as 24 hours,
How about 1 minute and nothing more than that?
Or like
Because
a credit
God,
sequence, like games
yeah.
have.
Oh no! They put the credits in there, and then they ran out, and then they were just listing file names.
Okay, I will say that's almost kind of funny. You're so desperate to keep your
absurd.
credits going that you're naming the file names, and that's kind of funny. I don't know.
Almost. If you're not 45 minutes in, and it's you're talking to someone while you're waiting for this to be over, and then all of a sudden, it was just like this nice quiet, that usual static that you have in the background, and then this like screamo rock starts playing in the background, and it's just ear bleeding horribleness
Oh,
out of nowhere, and you can't get into the settings to change the volume.
This sucks.
this is so
It was
That's
awful.
obnoxiously
puzzling.
awful.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds
I
me
don't
of
have
like
the will to finish it and hopefully be
No,
able to play
yeah,
the rest of
screw
the
it.
game again.
this reminds me of like someone trying to replicate Kojima weirdness, but just doing it in the absolute worst way imaginable.
Yeah, they just like totally misunderstood it.
They're like Kojima does weird things in his game that kind of don't make sense sometimes. So like if I do that, people will call me a genius.
And people was like, "I'm cool."
But if you're on enough things, they can make sense. This couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Alex, you want to add to your time spent with these lovely games?
I don't know. I think Fire Emblem Heroes has access to my microphone and camera and things like that, because I was talking to a friend
It's a
about
weird
like
thing to say.
I was
I'm intrigued.
Go on.
I don't know. You guys will know what's happened if I show up dead in the next week for saying this.
You got
but
You got to finish the story, my guy.
So I was talking to a friend, and I was like, yeah, I've been trying to go after this character for a really long time, and it was the 5-star Hector, and he's just this big armored guy with an axe that I like, and he had some special abilities in this one specific form that he had. That was a like the VIP of this summoning event. And and as I'm texting him, I go, I think I'm gonna give this one more try. And then the very next orb that I do is like, well, hi.
That's how they get you, Alex.
The magic
That's
pull.
Hector.
That's how they gotcha.
Yeah. I got him. I got him. Haven't turned it on since that though.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Who wants to
Yeah.
go next to bring up what they've been playing?
Wyatt, you really got me there.
I'll go next.
Go next, Wyatt.
Just
Do it.
to move us on from that horrible joke.
Getting gotcha'd.
Yeah, exactly. We'll move on. Don't worry, I got you. I've been playing 3 things primarily. First of all, I've been playing Immortals Phoenix Rising. I've been replaying that recently. It's one of those games like Spider-Man PS4 where it just feels it's so easy to just play. Where I feel like I can just play it in whatever mood I'm in because it's just such a nice like easy game to pick up and start playing. Like it's a very likable game, I guess is the way to put it. It cuts out a lot of the Ubisoft fat. It doesn't have a lot of running around and collecting menial stuff that might upgrade one thing 3 hours later or something. Everything you pick up has a direct kind of
You always know
gristle.
like what you're building
Yeah.
towards.
Yeah, you're either looting chests that gives you a new armor piece, things to upgrade your weapons with, or you're collecting like pomegranates and mushrooms, which increases your health and your speed and stuff like that. So it's super like streamlined, simple, right to the point, which is really nice.
Mushrooms.
Exactly. There you go.
That's an interesting 2 food choices.
Well, it is Greek themed, so pomegranate kind of makes sense. And then mushroom because Zelda did it. That's it.
Pomegranates and figs.
Figs is something else. Figs is for because you have what is it? You have like a attack bonus potion and like a defense bonus potion, and that's like figs and something else. I forget.
I feel like
Yeah,
figs could give me an attack bonus.
yeah. It's a very attack bonus kind of food.
I like
But no,
clashing into a violent rage after I've had some dehydrated figs.
but no, and then on top of that, I think it has like the best open world design that Ubisoft has done in a long time. It's really condensed. Every major area looks and feels very distinct, which is great.
So you're
They have
saying
a
it's
lot
the
of
opposite
cool.
of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
It's the opposite of literally every single one of their other games, where they're just giant and bloated and endless. Like there's really cool parts where you have to kind of fly around like a giant Hydra statue,
Ooh,
or there's one section that's kind of like Hephaestus's section that's basically all just one giant forge that you have to reactivate, and that's the entire section of the open world, which is pretty cool.
nice.
So yeah, really cool world design. Humor, you either like it or you don't.
Or you like
It's
it for a
either
while and then stop liking it after like 20 hours.
yeah, it you know what? I'll give it this. Tonally, Ubisoft games are so flat that like I even if it doesn't land all the time, I kind of appreciate how they just went for something and
Yeah.
they went 100% in one direction, and I appreciate that quite a bit. Even if it doesn't always work out that well. But yeah, no, it's just a super easy game to play. They have that perfect thing of like, here's all of our puzzles and combat and stuff. Once we've stopped coming up with good ideas of how to use them, that's when we end it there. We don't keep it going for another, 10, 20 hours. They know when to stop, which is good. They have a lot of restraint.
Very un-Ubisoft like of them.
No, it's what bothers me about it. It's probably the best Ubisoft open world game in such a long time, and it's the one that people talk about the least. It makes me really
How it
really
goes.
sad. I know it
That's
makes
how
me
it
really
goes.
sad. But no, I've been replaying that. That's been a lot of fun. I've been because it's October and because the Dead Space remake remaster whatever is coming out. I've been replaying the first Dead Space, which I never actually finished, and I played it a really long time ago. So all of the scares are new. I forget where literally all of the scary things happen. So it's nice not knowing when something's gonna pop up. So that's great. I'm playing it on PC. So, it's been kind of a weird, rough time.
Mm.
Literally, the first 5 minutes, I had to do this weird fix where I couldn't walk through a door. So I had to restart the game with VSync on, go through the whole section of the game just so I can get through a door, and then turn VSync off. Because VSync basically halves my frame rate, and apparently there's a lot of scripting related stuff in the code that is tied to frame rate for God knows what reason. So yeah, that was really weird. Also the physics are entirely screwed up. They are entirely just
Comedic.
it's kind of yeah, it's hilarious. Like if you're in a zero gravity section, there are people who just like, starfish position and are just spinning around. It is hilarious to watch. But other than that, I think it's really, really good. It's actually better than I remember it being. I think it speaks a lot to how well the sound design is and how well the visual design is, that you can have a horror shooter that gives you. I'm playing on the medium difficulty, like the regular difficulty. And it's a game that gives you like a good amount of resources. Like I've never felt like I was running out of ammo going into combat, but it's still really scary. And I think that speaks to how well its presentation is, that it can still scare you even though you have a lot of resources at your disposal. Like I have a lot of stuff just in storage of like spare ammunition and like health packs and stuff like that, but it's still scary because the presentation is so top notch. And even though it's a game that came out in 2008, I think 2008, the lighting looks gorgeous and the visual design is really really strong. I was really surprised by like how good the character models still looked, this many years later. Yeah, that's been really, really fun as well. And then basically I've been playing the exact same game. It's called Dreamscaper. That was a joke. Very different kind of game. I don't know if you guys have heard of Dreamscaper before.
Yeah, you and I talked
just
about
now-
it a few days ago, but that's the
Right,
first
right.
I've really heard much about it.
It's starting to gain some attention now that it's had its official release, but it's been in early access for about a year, I think.
A little over a year. I remember seeing it about 2 years ago, I think, in like a not released in early access yet, but it was advertised. So it's been a little while.
Right. It's one of those games that like it's kind of like when Deep Rock Galactic was coming up, people were like, why is no one talking about this game? And that's where it gains a lot of its popularity, because people are asking that question. But it's another narrative driven roguelike, which after Hades I discovered is my thing, I guess. But this one's really interesting. You play as a young girl named Cassidy who moves to a new town, and she doesn't know anyone, and she is like very kind of socially cut off from everyone. And as you talk to people and you sort of develop these relationships with other people in the town, it has direct effects on the roguelike gameplay. So when you fall asleep, you basically go into memories from when you were a kid, and you can walk over to specific parts of a map and like reminisce on like, oh, this was the family car named Ruby, and it like broke down constantly, but it's gotten us through so many different car rides and stuff like that. And what's interesting is that these two parts of the game interact really, really well with each other. So if you develop your friendship with this one character might increase your strength or your speed in the roguelike section. But if you can collect like courage and certain other things in the roguelike section, it'll allow you to be able to speak to new NPCs, which will then give you new rewards in the in the roguelike section. So these two like seemingly very separate things actually work really, really well together. And they did such a good job of taking like the idea of daydreaming and dreaming and stuff and kind of applying it to the roguelike setting. So instead of, oh, this is this is the new weapon I'm picking up, you're picking up what's called an idea, which is something that you sketched out while you're in the cafe. It's like, oh, I have this cool idea for punching gloves that like causes fire damage or whatever. You have to go into the cafe while you're awake and kind of sketch it out, and then you'll find it in the dream world in the roguelike section. It's super interesting. It's got this really cool art style. The music's really beautiful. People are saying it's like the next Hades, which I can't agree with, because I don't think the gameplay is like
quite
anywhere
as
near as polished. No, like there's very few games that has as much polish as Hades does.
I mean, Hades is like polished to a like pearl shine.
It's playing Hades is blinding. It is so highly polished that it blinds you while you play. It's ridiculous. So it's not quite there, but I think like combat wise and rogue like mechanics wise, I think it's really, really solid. And I just love this idea that these sort of like romance relationship sort of real world sections, and how that like connects with the dream world roguelike sections, and how well those two work together narratively and gameplay wise. It's really, really clever, and I really, really have been enjoying it.
I do gotta ask, Wyatt, what is the progression like for that game? Is it like Hades where you have meta progression in between
There is some meta
runs?
progression. Yeah, there's meta progression in the sense that like depending on who you talk to, it will increase your various stats and stuff like that.
And those are like permanent upgrades that persist across multiple runs.
Yes, I haven't unlocked everything 100% yet, because I kind of just started playing, so I can't 100% accurately answer that question. But I know there is like more meta progression, like permanent meta progression, than in like a typical roguelike. It's very much how Hades does it.
Okay. Yeah, that's always something I like, is having a bit of that permanent, maybe not power boost, but more options at least, and stuff you have access to as it goes on.
Yeah, and I know that some people kind of prefer everything reset, which I totally get. For me, it's like I feel like I'm working towards something. Like even if it's just a narrative that you're kind of working towards as you're replaying your runs, but having some sort of permanent like progression, I think is important for me to be able to like keep me playing. So, but no, it's really cool. It's on sale right now. If it sounds like something you're into, not for too much longer. It runs really, really well on Switch, which is the platform I've been playing it on. Yeah.
All right. Now, Brett, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
Well, we're both going to go next, because I'm going to rope you into this one, because we're the only ones that have played it. Because I have been playing other things. A few of the other Game Pass Shadow Drop things that just like randomly appeared that were like indies in the last few days. But the main thing that I've been playing for the last few days is that every chance that I've gotten, every time that they have the multiplayer open, I've finally got my
Yes.
hands on the Halo Infinite technical test, and I have thoughts. I have things. I have gears churning in my brain.
As do I. After this
I feel like the
last playing
kid-
more of it this time.
I feel like the
Yeah.
kid in high school that like was the one person in your class that didn't get invited to like the awesome party.
Wyatt, you had every
So-
opportunity.
You did?
No, I set all this up. No. I went through the whole process.
You just
and I
did it
never
too
got
late.
An email or anything. Well,
You
I
did it
thought
too late.
In my defense, I thought I had set that up a long time ago. Apparently, I didn't. I thought I did. So
Because they invited everyone who put into it for the second week. So
well,
And then everyone who was on a console just got in. Like
Yeah.
you didn't even have to do any setup at all. Which is how I played.
so
nice.
whatever.
But
What's your
yeah,
thoughts, Brett? Immediate thoughts.
I think my immediate thoughts is that I started playing and I was having a mostly pretty good time, and then there was like a midpoint where I got really frustrated, and then I started to understand some things, and then ever since that point, from that point on, it's just kind of just been like a 1 degree decline of enjoyment from maybe like 65% total enjoyment factor. There wasn't really anything that like blew me away like, oh my god, this is awesome. It did make me really happy that like, oh, this just 343 found the secret. They just made a Halo game again instead of trying to do something just wildly different. They just made a game that feels like a Halo game again and added some little extra bells and whistles. And that feels good. That part feels good.
Yep.
But yeah, I think overall the weapons overall are cool. There are like maybe one or two that are probably the least usable shooter weapons I've ever had the displeasure of even looking at in like
Which two
a shooter
were they
game.
for you? Because I have two that I also could not use, but it's not because they're bad, just because I didn't know how to use them.
For me, because I went through, I tried to get 3 stars in all the levels of all the shooting range things in between getting into matches and stuff. And for me, the absolute worst thing ever is the pulse carbine. I don't understand how that got into the game. It doesn't do anything, and it's weird because like in the first level of the shooting range thing, when all the guys are just standing still, it takes 2 bursts to kill someone. And it's like, wow, this is really cool. And the bullets are tracking. This is great. This is fine. And then the second that someone moves, none of them hit at all. There's no way to aim any of the plasma shots so that they hit at all. And then in practice, when people are like shooting back and jumping around and running all over the place, it just don't pick it up. It's useless.
Dude,
It is
I just
a
want them
waste
to
of time.
replace it. Swap that gun out for the plasma or the like Covenant carbine from the older games
It's
that
the normal
launched needle.
carbine.
Give me the needle carbine. I want that
Oh,
thing
the
Do you not
back.
neat-
have the
yeah.
carbine? Wait, is the carbine?
No, they
still-
don't. It's
That's my
not, yeah.
favorite weapon. No,
It's gone.
That we know of.
It's gone.
I think we have heard that not all the weapons are in these tests.
Yes.
So we're
Yeah.
not 100% positive, but I have not seen a handful of weapons that I would expect.
Like what?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
A lot of the Covenant
Mo-
weapons are different
Yeah.
or not there. That's the main thing. And then a lot of the UNSC weapons are kind of just updated versions. And like there's certain
Mhm.
weapons that I feel like the battle rifle feels less useful this time around because they have the other
does.
rifles that feel a lot better to use.
Mhm.
So
Also, I found it a lot. It's either rare or impossible to get like that. It's like sometimes you'd get that lucky, just like perfect, 3 shots on a guy where like just the one last bullet from the last burst would get through the shields to get
Yeah.
you just like a free headshot. Like, oh, you landed all your shots perfectly. That never happened to me once. So I think it's just like they cemented it into just getting like a forward shot perfect kill, which
yeah,
is a
it
lot
does feel
like
more like a mid-range weapon now than it did
Yeah.
in like the long-range sniping battle rifle.
Which is probably how it should be.
Yeah, because
But,
there's other options for longer range that feel better.
Yeah,
The pistol feels dinky.
a little dinky.
I think it's how it looks. I don't think it's anything to do with like how it handles, but it does. It looks so small in the hands of your Spartan that I just look at it and I'm like, wow, this doesn't feel great.
Is it a regular pistol, and then you are the size of Master Chief?
That's the thing, is that they've always talked about it in like the books and like the extended content, that it's like, oh, an assault rifle in the hands of a Marine is like a normal rifle, but in the hands of a 7-foot tall Spartan it looked small or something. And then you have like Halo 1 where like the pistol is just like the entire right side of your screen is just a chrome wall.
Yeah, it's just like a massive
metal. I like that better, because then they just give you like a normal Glock and you just have your giant Master Chief hand just like gripping this tiny little like toy water pistol.
You can only hold
almost.
it. You can only hold it with 2 fingers.
Exactly, it's like the little the Calibri from Battlefield 1.
It's Glock Anderson.
Yeah. What were the is there another culprit of stinky guns for you, Ryan?
Yeah, so the pulse carbine is the worst one. I also had a lot of trouble with just usability of the pistol too. Felt weird. And then it's just this handful of weapons that feel like in their intended ranges they do worse than the standard like heavy assault rifle, or I think that's the main one, is that the heavy assault rifle just feels so consistent compared to every other option you have that like it didn't feel great to pick up, especially when I picked up again like the Heat Wave, I think it was called. I had fun with that for a little bit and didn't realize it was in a big team battle map, and it was only useful if I very specifically managed to hit someone directly in front of me like 3 times and then they would die. It just kind of felt like a lot of the weapons that feel like they should be a little bit more fitting into their niche and doing a really excelling in that niche didn't quite excel over some of the base weapons that you get.
And it's also like some of the weapons have like cool side features, and I never found any of them to be useful. Like the one that like switches the choke on the shotgun. It's you can 2-shot someone if you're holding it like this and all the bullets hit. Why would you ever do it this way? Like just aim good, because the gun that has the chance to arc electricity between people is like, you need to be the most accurate you ever have been in your entire life to hit shots with it. And the skewer or whatever, that's just the big rocket launcher sniper thing that just fires a piece of rebar, basically. If you're even like a pixel off of the person that you're shooting at, it's not going to hit, and then you have to sit through like a 20-year reload time.
See, that's my thing, because the rebar launcher type rifles are some of my favorite weapons in games. Because when you nail a like puncture someone to a wall gun, it feels so good. But that one, I have not gotten to use it in a way that felt fun yet.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be good against vehicles or something, because I haven't really tried it against vehicles.
It is. It is. If you hit the middle of a warthog with it, it just blows it up in one shot.
That's pretty
full
great.
Health to nothing. It's really stupid.
I do have a question. This was something that was talked about in like the technical alpha a lot. How much did the like AI voices annoy you guys, if they had it in this flight at all?
I wasn't annoyed. I was disappointed, because you could definitely have like a lot of conversation about how like the voices don't fit or whatever. I thought it was really funny how sometimes my guy would have like a really weird southern drawl, and it just feels weird to have someone in a Halo game say, "Oh, I picked up the assault rifle." It feels like a joke.
I do wish they had some that weren't comedic, because it feels like all 4 of them right now are comedy.
Yeah, and also there's this thing that and why its jaw is about to hit the floor. There's this thing that Halo 5 did that I really appreciated, because their AI and this is more on like the Spartan AI, like the other actual Spartans, they would have like callouts, because it's 20 whatever, it's Halo, it's not COD, no one's playing with a headset on. so no one's communicating, and it's not like a game where you need that anyway. But it was nice to have an in-game built-in way for if no one's got a headset on, someone's like, "Oh, enemy at mid" or whatever, and it's not like super crazy contextual, like, "Oh, the guy at the columns with the rocket launcher" or whatever. It was just like just having like those pro league style callouts where it's just like mid, top, bottom, whatever. Those were super helpful. Halo Infinite has none of that, and instead it's just filled with like picked up the assault rifle or like rocket launcher spotted or my favorite enemy over there. It's like, dude, come on. Like you are it doesn't really matter if the game is good at the end of the day. You are a first party Microsoft company making the mainline Halo game for the console. You have infinite time and infinite money. Just pay your voice actors to make the lines for all the different things, because it just adds so much, and it feels weird, specifically in this game, because for a while I was on like a super like awful downward curve where I was just not winning any game, and I just kept getting captured the flag and losing because I was sitting back on defense and everyone else was like fiddle farting around the rest of the one big circle map with the hog on it, and I'm just sitting here like, why? Like it's not hard. Just the big red symbol is what you go to get, and the blue one is the one that you protect. Come on, people. And then I played one game where people were communicating, and we won it like it was nothing. And it was like, if only there was some sort of in between that 343 could have implemented that they did already once before.
But
well, it got even more like the battle lines
skipping over fiddle farting.
the battle chatter in 5 got like it got really specific too, where like if a character was near a weapon pad, like say the rocket launcher, 15 seconds to rocket launcher and stuff like that. Like legitimately super helpful information.
Yeah.
Like way more in depth than like a lot of other.
That was another thing I really noticed. It's really hard to tell, at least from what I was seeing, when a weapon is coming up and whatnot.
Yes.
So I didn't see any visual indicator or anything that would give a hint to, as like, because you can find the spawn points around the map and then go up to them and be like, okay, there should be a shotgun here or a sniper rifle here, and then just not know when it's going to respawn. So
yeah,
that
they do have little countdown things on them, but they're like, I had the same problem where I had multiple games where I'd be so confused because like, dude, doesn't the rockets respawn like every 2 or 5 minutes or whatever? How is this? Like, I haven't gotten a single, like, no one said, "Oh, the rockets are back up," or like the rockets are on the screen. I just kept getting killed by the same guy that just, I guess, was there the millisecond that they came back up. It just picked them up every single time, and just kept getting my whole team over and over again. And there was no way for anyone else to know when they were coming up, basically, which isn't a problem in like past games. But now you have a game that has rocket launcher symbol in the part of the map where it is with a countdown on it. Why isn't it there?
Right.
Yeah.
I also got to ask, this is such a small thing that they added in 5 that I absolutely love. In 5, if you're in a vehicle with multiple seats and it's just you in it, you can hit the A button.
Yes.
Did they keep it?
Yes.
Of course
What do you hit the A button?
Fantastic.
You switch seats.
Yeah,
like
so like if you're
Battlefield,
driving a hog all by yourself, you can like drive it to where you want it, hit A, and then you automatically just swap seats.
Cool.
Yep.
And it's
That's
cool.
there.
It doesn't just teleport you. Your guy like actually like climbs into the back, and there's this whole animation.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet.
I do have my one major complaint with this beta this time is that they defaulted everyone to open mic. So,
dear God,
Brett, I don't know what your experience was.
Oh dear God!
But I had like the first 4.
I didn't know that.
The first 4 matches in a row. So I don't have a problem because I like have a mute switch on my mic, so my mic is off almost all the time. No one's gonna hear anything coming from me.
Oh dear
but
God.
You will never see.
I was super confused because I thought the game's audio was broken because it sounded like it was playing like twice, and then I figured out for my first like 4 matches I played yesterday, I had team members who just probably didn't know it was on open mic and were playing on speakers, and all of the game audio was being pumped back in twice.
Oh no!
And it was so bad.
Every other match, you get that one asshole that doesn't understand that his mic is picking up every single sound.
Yeah, every lip smack.
It was just eating chips or something, and you're just like,
and it's
come
like,
on,
dude, like, there's a little symbol that tells you if your mic is going off or not. That is there for a reason, my guy.
I will blame part of it on them for don't ever default to open mic.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that.
What?
But yeah, you should still, in an ideal world, have the intelligence, the double digit IQ to check. But, I had one, like, you guys think that I'm a whiny hiney who complains when they play games. Like, this guy that I had, this rando, like, it just puts me to shame. My God, he was like every single, oh my God, this game, and his voice was like that too. Hey, this game freaking sucks. Like, how does that kill you one shot? It doesn't make any sense. And just every single time he would stop talking, someone just, what? Shut up, dude. Just shut up. Just two guys arguing for a whole big team battle. It's hilarious.
It's great seeing all the Xbox 7-year-olds grown up and they haven't changed one. They haven't changed one bit.
Brett, that's insane. You were playing with a celebrity. You matched with Cartman from South Park.
It would be an honor to play him.
So, Brett, were you playing on PC or console this time around?
On Xbox One S. So it was a little choppy, but on console, yeah.
Yeah, so I did have... So last time, I said I didn't have any performance issues last time. And that's true. Last time I didn't have any major issues, aside from the like weird occasional bug of it like sticking on aiming and whatnot. This time, my performance was like 10 to 15 frames less constantly. And so what I think it is last time I just used the default settings in video. This time I went in and customized some stuff, but even playing on the like default settings, it wasn't that great. And then as soon as I started bumping things up a little bit, and the game, I want to stress this game doesn't look that good, right? Like, yeah. It looks good. It doesn't look that pretty good. It doesn't look like anything that a computer with a 2070 in it shouldn't be able to handle. So it was, especially because I turned the internal resolution down to like 1080p, which I tend to do just to make sure I get higher frames. But here I was getting like 45 frames a lot of the time. It just felt weird and choppy compared to last time. And I wonder if it's the big team battle maps.
I wonder, yeah.
If it's something to do with how they're loading files.
Because it's I mean that map in particular is very like visually, it's very like just pretty looking. Like they got like some really nice natured aesthetics in there. And I wonder if it's also like just something to do with just the fact that there's it's got to be a big team thing because there's like more players on it and everything. There's more players playing in general because I was noticing like some just the servers are just kind of dog water.
Because what I did do at one point is I went and turned every setting to low. And like went in, and this game on low, this game looks worse than most of the MCC games by a decent margin, and it was performing way worse. And I still don't.
Oh,
I want to know what is going on there because they don't have a lot of time left.
It looked about as good as it did from that build from January.
When on low, that looks pretty on par, and it was just like it was running so poorly for what it should be running like.
That's weird.
I want to see that ironed out, but that's my only real complaint.
Yeah. Well, they released a demo or beta or whatever. They released a flight well before the launch, so they actually have time to fix some of these things.
That is the hope. There are some things, however, that I think I don't know. They might be a little bit dipping their toes into the realm of unsavability, because I don't know how you feel about the big team battle, Ryan, but I thought the map that they had was pretty subpar. Yeah, if you ended up playing a full game on it.
So the map I mostly played on was the one that it feels a lot like I think Valhalla from 3, to where you have the jump pads everywhere, and that's the one I wound up playing on the most.
And that's the only one they had for big team.
Okay, that makes sense then. It just felt very plain to me, and like there wasn't a lot going on, and it also felt like there was nothing visually interesting in the map to where
exactly.
Like, my big thing with the Halo 3 maps is all the Halo 3 maps have a visual identity. If you've got like the desert base, you've got the snow like U area that has all these crazy fights in it. And this map felt flow-wise most like that snow map from Halo 3. Except Avalanche? It didn't have
Avalanche,
Avalanche with the ice, the two like Hoth style bases in the wall that you need to go around the big curve to get to and capture the flag and everything. That's what this mostly felt like, except it just didn't have any of the visual flair. It didn't have an identity. It just kind of felt like a multiplayer map in a way that most Halo maps don't feel that way.
Because
So
if it was Halo 3, like, that wouldn't be a rock. That would be like a crashed pelican, or like a phantom or something, or like some cool like foreigner thing. But it's like you have two really nice looking bases that are across from each other, and then like 45 really nice looking rocks. And they're really nice looking, but they all look exactly
they are just
the
rocks.
same. They are just rocks, and they're of varying heights and sizes, but a rock is a rock.
And it also has the issue of like just the entire map is just green.
Yeah.
And like
It's really pretty, probably, to like go through in mayhaps a part of the campaign section of the world as a smaller part to a bigger area that has the same aesthetic. I don't know. I might just be grasping at straws for something that's not true there. But as a multiplayer map, it was like the two bases, and then no matter what the game mode was, it was just walk, 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 walk. Everyone's killing each other in the very middle, and there's no engagements.
I did not have any fights in that game that were not in the same. That were not in that spot, in that like middle circle, in that one little rock by one of the bases. That all of the fights I had took place in those like 3 areas,
and it made it boring, which sucked.
So I'm looking at gameplay of this map that you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And what it looks like is that it's like, okay, we have our setting for the map, and that's it. We're not going to put in any cool like
because normally you've got like a setting and then some spice you sprinkle on top. This time it was missing the spice.
Like what you were saying with like Valhalla has the crashed pelican, and I remember in the description of the map for Halo 3 it talks about like like a small group of Marines were holed up here for a while because they crashed a pelican there.
Yep.
Hence the crashed pelican.
Yes.
It's just little details like
things that they have.
I really hope are still gonna be here.
Yeah.
Because it is totally possible this is just one of the maps that I'm not gonna like as much. But yeah, I do still. The main worry I have for them is that even with this multiplayer being free, I think most people that have an Xbox One or any interest in the Xbox ecosystem have Master Chief Collection if they're interested in Halo. And I really want to know how they're planning to pull people away from Master Chief Collection to Infinite. Because I think the major thing with it being free and free to play is that they're probably going to have some weird monetization in there. And my reaction to that is going to be, well, if it's got weird monetization that I don't like, I'm just going to go play the regular Halo game.
It depends on how closely it sticks to what they did in MCC, right?
Yep.
Like if it's like a very similar, like super relaxed, system where it really feels like there's no pressure whatsoever, then I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. But I don't think MCC doesn't have microtransactions like the credits or whatever it is exactly. So
but
that's
the color purple, Wyatt.
Because that's what worries me is like they have all this cool armor customization and AI customization. I'm just so worried that they're gonna go crazy with monetization, and that's gonna kill my desire to play the game. Because like I want to like Halo Infinite. That's the main thing is I want to like this game, but I am so concerned, and not necessarily the fault of 343, though they did try some scummy stuff in the past with the ward boxes and whatever. So it's just the gaming industry at large is guilty of a lot of things recently of handling these systems poorly. And so I really hope
continue to try to do that as underhandedly as possible until they sneak by and it becomes commonplace and they
it already has.
What could happen, I think, like when I think about how bad it could get, my perfect my go-to example is what happened to Modern Warfare 2019.
Yep.
The amount of insane cosmetics that they added over time. Like I'm trying to think, there's like over 100 different like specialized assault rifles that you can get from like blueprints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That are all either stuff that you have to really like grind your ass for, or stuff that you just pay for with real money. And like
we have to pay for it either way if you're grinding.
I'm not going to be alive in the game long enough to admire the look of the rifle. Why would I pay for it to look different?
Oh, I know. Well, the other thing
TTK is such that I get killed in one frame. I can't appreciate it.
And the other thing that they might do too is that a game that leans into its cosmetics a lot, again, like Modern Warfare, starts to add a lot of just stupid garbage that just looks
Mhm.
terrible and it's super gimmicky. And the last thing I want to see happen is to just have a Halo game with a bunch of just dumb looking armor. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you'll be sad to know that one of the prototype armors that's already been confirmed to be real is just a big snowman head. It's not even like a technological snowman head. It's just a snowman head.
With a
And that
top
kind
hat,
of
at least?
dumb
Yeah,
and
with a
that
top hat.
and that kind of dumb crap works in
least
certain
he's not
games.
naked.
Like if you want to have your really stupid gimmicky like seasonal stuff in something like Overwatch, totally fine with that because it's very like
It's a cartoony character game.
Yeah.
But not for Halo. Like make actual armor sets that like a Spartan
Yeah.
would wear and not stupid crap. Like you can have it inspired by things like the Roman helmet thing that they were showing off looks really
Ooh.
cool. You know,
Samurai
classic is
one.
like the Hayabusa stuff from Halo 3 all looks
Yeah.
really cool, but like when you really get crazy with it with games like Halo and Call of Duty, it just like it's garish and it's just like
Yeah.
it gets hard to look at. It just gets
It
tacky.
feels weird. And I wonder if this is just like us like being old farts having played the Halo franchise for most of our gaming lives, because I've seen a lot of people in like the posts that were talking about the snowman helmet and stuff, like specifically like defending it and just saying like, oh, they're just it's just fun, just like let it be fun. If people want to wear it, let them wear it or whatever. And it's like I guess that's what the gamer sphere might be like now, but I don't like that very much, and I don't like how there's enough evidence for me to doubt that, you know, my grind to get the really cool helmet at like rank like 120 or whatever, that I have to spend like 120,000 credits on to have the flaming Master Chief helmet or something. I don't like how that's looking. Like, I can't do that because I have to buy the battle pass, or I have to do it specifically during an event that's going to need me to pay money, or I can't make my guy just be purple because the purple camo hasn't come out yet. The only camo that's purple is the one that's purple that has the head like yellow or something, because there's no individual color customization. It's just one paint scheme that you slap on your guy. And they look nice, but if I'm looking for something specific, every other game in the entire franchise has just let me just pick it for free with like 3 button presses. And now it's
Yeah.
not like that, and it's worse, and it's making me worried that that is like that because you're going to have to buy the color purple.
And
Even
what
Destiny
makes
does
it
armor customization better than that.
what makes it feel like legitimately hard for me is that you have the whole situation in the other Halo games where you can really customize your character in these little ways, but make them unique to you. And when you have shaders and whatnot that apply to the entire character and determine what colors are what, and everyone's got access to the same stuff, and like there isn't that reward system of you get that. Like, I remember the Recon helmet in Halo Reach was such a
Exactly.
I was gonna
goal
bring
to
that
go
up.
for,
Classic.
right? And it
I was
was
gonna bring
so
that up.
cool when you finally got it. And that was a thing that was so much fun, and it felt like you had done something really cool when you got it, right? I don't think that sense is
Mhm.
going to be here because they're
No.
going to
Yeah.
nickel and dime you for it.
Yeah.
And so then it's
and
going to feel
even
like
if
I paid them $5, so I got my thing, instead of
exactly.
I did really
So
well
impressive.
in multiplayer matches and got this cool thing.
And because even all like the battle pass stuff is going to be designed such that like, oh, you could reach rank 20 of the battle pass within a reasonable amount of time so that anyone can do it, so everyone gets the rank 20 shoulder armor. There's no sign of there being a thing of like, yeah, beat the open world campaign on legendary if you can still have a legendary mode in
Yeah.
an open world campaign,
Which
and
we
then
don't know
get
if it is
the
open
special
world,
helmet.
to be clear.
We
No, it
know
is.
it's
They
larger
said-
levels.
yeah.
We don't know if it's
Larger
open world.
levels, but not like
I thought they said it was open world
fully-
for sure.
They said it focuses on open spaces, but we still don't know what that means.
Okay.
Huh.
We know
Which
so
to me-
little about the single player.
Which to me translates as what Halo 1 was, or Combat Evolved was, which was a lot of like
Yeah.
that second mission where you're collecting all these guys on like the Warthog and
We'll
stuff
see.
like that. Like if it's something like that, anyway, that's besides the point. And the thing is too, I'm also just gonna immediately dismiss its cosmetics, so who cares? The thing is, if they're monetizing cosmetics, they know it's important to a lot of people. Otherwise, they
Yeah.
wouldn't monetize it to begin with.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. If that
Yeah.
argument is still going to be there, like if they're monetizing it, they know it's important, End of story. To a lot of people. So.
Yep.
They're willing
the
to
thing-
jeopardize their fan base.
Yeah, I guess so. The thing that I will end my tirade on as more of a positive suggestion to people that are either playing the last like 2.5 hours of the the final day here, or haven't played it yet and are waiting to play it when the game comes out. There's nothing that 343 can tell you to make a 21 or younger year old male gamer boy want to do the training mode before they just jump right into multiplayer. But by God, do the training mode, because sometimes, after like 3 hours of just dumping your assault rifle into someone and having it not kill them and just being enraged and confused, go to the training mode and you will find out that you really do have to just do short controlled bursts this time. It's not just a thing in a loading screen that's just like, oh, okay, it doesn't actually matter. It actually matters now. Do the weapon training, because otherwise you will not know how to use any of the guns in the game.
Yeah. All right. So Brett, anything else you played that you want to talk about that isn't Halo?
I played like an hour and a half of a game that was on Game Pass called Astria Ascending that looked visually very cool, and I wish listed it on Steam like a while ago, and it was a surprise that it was on Game Pass, because I was like, oh, I want to get it, but I don't know if I want to dump like $30 on it. And I'm glad that it was on Game Pass, because I would have been very upset if I paid $30 for it.
I was gonna say I haven't heard many good things about this game.
No, it's the thing is that it's stunningly beautiful. It's great.
What kind of game is it? What kind of game are we talking about?
It's a JRPG. So,
Oh.
but it's a different one in that the overworld, the non-combat sections are like a 2D platformer. So it's like the Vanillaware games.
Yeah.
Like Dragon's
Odin Sphere, Leaf Thrasier, and Dragon's
yeah.
Crown.
Yeah. And it has the same art style too, where like if you're not a fan of the very voluptuous, detailed, muscular anime babe, then you're probably not going to like it very much. But
it's not as bad
also
as
very
Dragon's
pretty.
Crown.
It's not as bad as Dragon's Crown.
I'm the person, I love Vanillaware games. Dragon's Crown is one that I cannot bring myself to play that for very long, because it is distractingly weird.
Dragon's Crown is just stupid. It's just stupid.
Dragon's Crown is distractingly muscular to the point where I just go, okay, I need to like play something
These don't
else
look
because
like
I can't.
Cool
beings
off for a second.
Yeah,
like their entire just
it's like watching nothing but
just
Brock Lesnar.
obscured by muscle. Entire organs in their body have been replaced by pecs.
Yeah. But it's interesting you say they don't even look like humans, because like more than half the party of the 8 party members that you have are not humans, and they're like cool like fantasy creatures that are all very unique and colorful looking. And so they start you with all 8, and you have to solve a problem with them immediately. And I'm sitting here going, okay, they're starting me with all 8 to get the ropes. So at some point everyone's gonna like die or separate or something, or there'll be a flashback, and then they'll tone it back. Like, okay, you got the taste of all the things you could do. Now you get set back at the beginning, and then you get to earn all the characters and earn all the abilities and things, so you can learn how to play the game. No, you just get 8 characters that all have their own 2-sided ability trees, and the implication that there are 3 more 2-sided ability trees for each of those 8 characters, and they all have like a huge spell list, and there's a huge item list that doesn't have like any way to filter it or anything, and there's just so many just like menus and numbers and stats, and like
and no explanation of any of it.
No explanation. I'm just sitting here like, this is so pretty. Why am I looking at numbers the whole time? And why can't I just play the game?
Numbers.
At the font, man. Oh my god, so crisp.
That's so crisp.
And I just dropped it, so I don't know.
The anti-aliasing method is just
It's definitely going to be a game that I'm gonna go to Pinterest at some point. I'm gonna save a lot of concept art for it for reference or whatever, and then I'm never gonna play it again. Because, exactly, great, fantastic, fantastic Final Fantasy fan art mood board material. But in terms of being an actual game, it was very, very disappointing, unfortunately.
All right. So I got 2 games that I've mostly been playing this week, aside from Halo Infinite's Flight that I've been playing as well, quite a lot of. I have been so a little game came out last week called Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're hearing really good things about it.
This
Yeah, I
game's
know.
really good.
Yeah.
Only heard good things about it.
That
It
is
was-
bizarre.
It
That
was
is
fantastically fun watching you play that.
Yeah,
the
so
level.
I've been playing a lot of that, and it is really good. The difficulty is great. It's too difficult for kids. That's the only major thing is like easy difficulty, too easy. Medium difficulty is like hard difficulty in other racing games.
You
so
said
they
it could
need
be
a
compared
step
to
between
Forza
those two.
in some way.
Yeah, like I've played a lot of racing games, and that means I can reliably beat medium. I can't reliably beat hard, and easy is way too
so
easy.
Ryan, what you're saying is on hard, you can't beat that.
Yeah, but they need a medium difficulty because like no kid playing this game is going to be able to beat medium easily at the start. So they need like a beginner difficulty instead of easy or something. But I gotta admit the track designs are really fun. They're all these crazy. They're like real Hot Wheels tracks that are then spliced with crazy imaginative things like magnetic walls that make you ride along them.
Cool.
But the fun thing with those is you can like dislodge yourself from the wall if you hit something hard enough and bounce to where you fall back onto the ground. So there are bits where you have to like run off of a magnetic track and then flip your car around in the air so that gravity takes you back, landing right way
What?
on a regular track.
What?
It's so much fun.
Awesome.
And you have like a crazy amount of air control to where you can like, if you're in the air, you can basically make your car fly in whatever direction you want and like rotate it really easily. So you have tons of air control to find shortcuts and whatnot. What I cannot wait for, this game has an incredible track builder that is basically just the tools that devs use.
Oh.
So I cannot wait to see what community people come up with. My only major complaint right now, the game does not have an easy track browser. So I can browse
I gotta
community
add that.
tracks in the quick race bit. If I go to like the time trial and go look, I can pull up community tracks and like download them. But there's no sorting, there's nothing like that. There's no like or dislike thing. So I see like 1 or 2 really good tracks and then like 30 test first track. Like things that people have uploaded for no reason to the cloud. And it's just like these awful
you're gonna
tracks.
You're gonna have some tracks that are Mario Maker quality difficulty.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where like they do make you complete a track when you put it out on the slowest vehicle in the game, so that everyone they make sure that it is possible to complete with any car that you have.
That's good.
Like Mario Maker, which is nice, but it does mean that like there are tons of tracks that are just like one tiny loop, or they have ones that are like 30 loops midair with you'd have to do some crazy thing where you don't even touch the pedal or something to get through it, and it's just stuff like that. I really would like a way to sort through based on like tags, or they need to add more to that where you can like tag your track as certain things. You can tag the environment your track's in, do things like, okay, if you like this track after you play it, you can give it like an upvote or a like so that it's shown to more people. So that way tracks get filtered out. And then you have like an exploratory thing where you can, what I would love is just a mode on the main menu that's like quick play of community tracks. And just like does the Mario Maker thing where it downloads community tracks for you to try out. So you can then try them and like rate them to see if other players should play them. I would love that. But they don't have that yet. They do have some really fun cars. I think Alex saw the Stegosaurus car. There's a toast car.
The toaster.
There's the toaster. I got a hamburger car a little while ago.
There's the classic just skull and spine one.
Yeah, there's a skull and spine one. There's tons of really good ones.
Is it accurate to call this the Lego game or the Lego movie of video games? Just something that's clearly just a licensed property that has no right being as good as
kind of. I mean, the nice thing is Milestone, the developers, have worked on a lot of racing games in the past. They make a lot of, but they're almost all motorcycle racing games. So they do like exclusively they do the Monster Energy game. They do the Ride motorcycle racing series.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait. Back up.
Monster Energy Supercross has a long running franchise. But it's a Supercross game, so it's like sports games for motorcycles.
Hold on.
It's like going back to MX versus ATV, and most of them aren't great, but there's a few that are really good.
I have to look this up now.
Yeah, Monster Energy Supercross. It's a real thing. There's a bunch of them, but they release like a couple of games a year that are all motorcycle centric, just with different themes. You have your Supercross, you got your Ride, which is the like track motorcycle racing, all sorts of fun stuff. And this is their first car game in a while, so it's pretty out of their wheelhouse, but it came out really well. It's got one of the best senses of speed that I've seen in a racing game in a long time, to where you can look at it and be like, "Wow, I'm going fast," which is crazy because it's like a Micro Machines. Your car is tiny. So I think it's really, really...
You are absolutely zooming.
Yeah, you're zooming. It's great. And it also, a lot of the tracks will play into the environments. So you have things like a basement or a garage or a skate park. And you have to like drive along the actual physical bits where like the track will cut out and you have to go down the half pipe and then turn into the track at the bottom of it. So there's tons of cool stuff where like there's bits where you go through the air ducts.
Or the part in the was it a basement or some? It was someplace where you could get lodged in the cushions of a couch.
Yeah, so if you're in the basement and there was a bit where I had to run along the couch, but I accidentally flipped my car and then got stuck in the cushions of the couch by like flipping it directly, so I was on my like top and then stuck in between the cushions, and I had to reset it. So there's stuff like that where you have to watch out for just how the tracks are built, which is fun.
That's funny.
And they've also said they're going to have expansions coming out. One of them is a Batman themed one, so we'll get some Batman themed like environments and Hot Wheels cars, which will be great.
Hence
Can you
my
imagine a Hot
Lego
Wheels-
movie comparison.
Yeah, there
Can
is a
you
TMNT
imagine-
car in the
Yeah.
game, so
Can
there's
you
tons of
imagine
fun
a
stuff.
Hot Wheels track in the Batcave?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna
that'd
get
be
it.
sick.
It's gonna happen. So
Little Damian Wayne just messing around with Hot Wheels cars and his daddy's
but it's one of the most just like
Batcave.
fun racing games I've played in a while. There's a lot of racing games that don't understand how to be fun. This game knows how to be fun, which is really nice. Especially seeing like Cruise and Blast came out a little while ago, and that's also the same way. But yeah, it's a great game. Moving on to, it's also not full price. That's always nice. My
Yeah, that's
next
true.
major game that I've been playing, a little game called Super Monkey Ball. Banana
based.
Mania.
Based.
With the
I feel like every
character.
time, Ryan, I feel like every time you say the two words "Super Monkey Ball," it always ends
That's
with you
3
laughing.
words, Wyatt.
That's 3 words.
3 words. Isn't
wait,
Monkey
wait.
Ball? Isn't Monkey
I
Ball?
feel like
combined into
Monkey
one
Ball.
word
I feel like Monkey Ball is hyphenated.
in the official title.
No.
So it's technically
not.
one word. Whatever. 3 words. I feel like every time you say those 3 words, you just always end up laughing. It's like the punchline to a joke every single time.
Yeah, well, it's Super Monkey
Super
Ball.
Monkey Ball.
Look, there is the Super Monkey Ball lore is incredible.
No, I
This
don't.
monkey
I don't
is
Because
want
they are like born inside
I'm
these airtight shells.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm drawing the line at
Exploited
Super
by
Monkey
Dole.
Ball lore. Okay.
It's crazy. But
The
yeah,
fact that
Super
they
Monkey
are
Ball
canon
Banana
in-
Mania, really good. Is very fun.
So
Well-
are they canon in the Yakuza franchise now? that these
I mean,
apes
Super
exist
Monkey
in the
Ball
world?
is canon in Yakuza because Yakuza has tons of Sega games that you can play. And I'm sure there's like a Super Monkey Ball advertisement in one of the games somewhere.
Of course it does.
But you can roll around as Kazuma Kiryu inside of a
Yes.
ball, which is great. There's also, you can play a Game Gear instead of a ball, a Dreamcast and a ball. Tons of fun side characters. There's a Jet Set Radio's main character, I think it's Beat, is in the game.
Oh, cool.
So there's tons of side characters that you can unlock. This game is like, it's really good. There are legitimate complaints about it to where they changed how the physics of the game work a little bit to be more approachable for newcomers. But it also means that some like old speedrun strats and whatnot don't work, and they feel a little bit. Basically, the way the games used to work is that whenever you move the level, it would always follow exactly where your thumbstick is going. So it's like 1-to-1. If you snap the thumbstick to the side, that level is like snapping very quickly to the side to launch you.
Yeah.
Whereas now it follows a curve instead of directly correlating, which makes it easier to do precise, like small movements, and a lot harder to do the like really, really direct 1-to-1 flips and changes. So it's
I wonder if they
different.
can have like an option to switch between those controls, like an Ace Combat. You
I
can
think
do
the main way that they know it's different is this is completely remade. It's not the same engine. It's now in Unity. They had to remake the game. So I don't think swapping it is necessarily something they can do.
Damn.
But, we'll see. I'm sure this game is going to get some post-launch support because it is made by Ryuga Gotoku Studios, the devs of Yakuza. Because if people didn't know, the Nagoshi, who created the Yakuza franchise, also created the Super Monkey Ball franchise.
Yes.
They
It's
are the
all
same
coming
man.
together.
It all comes together. Hey, it makes a lot of sense
Excuse me, you have
if
to
you
say it
really think
correctly.
about it.
You have to say that correctly. Oh yeah.
Oh
It's all
yeah.
coming together.
It was all coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Banana Mania is absolutely like, if you've never played a Monkey Ball game, play Banana Mania because you're gonna have a fun time. It gets ludicrously difficult, but there's a lot of functions in this game now that make it less ludicrously difficult. You don't have the live system, so you can always replay a level as many times as you want.
Would you say that it gets a little bananas?
It does get a little bananas. It gets a lot bananas. It's
Oh,
also
yeah?
got,
Oh yeah.
unironically, Banana Mania has one of the best
think I just killed
soundtracks
Brett.
of this year. Banana Mania's music is incredible. It's bonkers good.
The
But yeah.
pure amount of contempt coming from Brett's face through my monitor
He-
right now is
he-
is
Even though it was your pun, I'm feeding off of the energy.
Wyatt, it really seems like you need to go play some monkey baseball right now and just relax playing monkey baseball because that's a mini game you can play in Super Monkey Ball.
I'm playing Dead Space. That's the most relaxing game ever made.
But yeah,
I swear to
this
God,
has
every
been
time I'm playing it,
my
my posture is this the whole time. It's just...
my week of just playing weird racing style games and Diablo 2 is still going, but that's Diablo 2. It's always going to be good. So,
Diablo is a racing style game if you play it bad enough.
or if you play it speedy, there are races in Diablo. That is a legit thing.
Oh.
You race to see like who's the first to do a thing. Basically speedrunning.
Okay.
But that is a very common ARPG thing is races. So that's been a lot of fun. And Stranger of Paradise demo came out. That was pretty entertaining, but that also kickstarted my love again for Neo. So I've restarted playing Neo 2. And Brett, I will tell you how to love this game at some point. I'll show you how to enjoy it. But
I'm open to it.
it is sometimes that game is bonkers fun. Sometimes it's very frustrating. But when it's bonkers fun, it's bonkers
Yeah.
fun.
I do want to mention. I had said this when I was playing the Strangers in Paradise demo. The entire look of the game is very like Xbox 360. Like no anti-aliasing to speak of. Very like.
I mean, that game
muted,
is like
dull color
7 months
palette.
from coming out. It's a ways off. if
I
not
know,
more than
I know,
that.
I know. I'm just saying. Like
All right.
it's like I was slingshot back to a simpler time.
It also doesn't run super well. That's the other thing. It runs
the fact-
That's what I've
inconsistently.
seen.
The fact that it looks the way that it does and runs it and has constant frame rate dips on a PS5 is kind of unacceptable.
Well, it's
Again,
not
this
done,
game is early.
so-
This is way earlier in development than Halo Infinite
Well-
is right now. So
Yeah.
Well, unacceptable if that is the state
at release,
of.
But
It
they
better
got
not
like
be.
7-8 months until
It may
then.
not be. It may not be.
And I want to
Let's-
specify that like Neo 2 looks great and runs really well on the base PS4. So
And
they know how to optimize games. Well,
And I was told too that this I don't know the developer's name off the top of my head, but
Team Ninja.
they improved a lot since the first demo that they had.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
what I understand, which is always good to see.
but I got to get back to the Neo 2 story, Wyatt, that you've stolen from my grasp to talk about Stranger of Paradise.
I'm sorry.
There's a weapon in that game called the Switchglaive, which has 3 forms. You got your
Yes.
guillotine form, where you swing it around in like a guillotine, and it's just a fast attacking weapon that you can like. You have a finisher animation where you shove someone's head in the middle and then crunch it together. It's great.
Oh,
There's the spear like glaive form where you twirl it around a lot, and then you've got the scythe form. And the scythe form has some of the best like unlockable abilities in the game, because that's the heavy hitting form, but there's an ability I just got which allows me to throw the scythe down, impale someone on the end, and then flip myself into the air and go behind them. It's so much fun. Oh,
sounds like the developers have been
ability.
watching Ruby.
Yeah, but only took the good things from it, which there are like 3 of.
And I'm assuming it has better animations.
Mm.
That's a high bar to clear.
Ooh.
Look, I would say first season of Ruby had better animation than the rest, not so much.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Monty was a good man. All right. With that,
Monty.
I think we've successfully hit the end of the show, which means it's time to do shout-outs. Alex.
Yes.
Wait. Before my shout out,
Yeah?
obligatory. Asmongold,
Oh, gotta get one
There we
in. Gotta get one in.
Gold.
Gotta
Thank
As
you.
we go for good luck, I gotta say
Admin
New
gold.
World Controversy.
Yeah.
There we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
New World Controversy.
New World Controversy.
New World Controversy.
Okay, Alex, what are your shout?
Uh,
Now that the shills are out of the way.
My shout outs are two things that's one thing together that just makes my salad enjoyable again. While I was in Massachusetts, we visited my favorite like shopping plaza outdoor space, Mashpee Commons. I went to a I don't know I'll just call it an olive oil store, and
Yep.
we got a God, I believe it was a Persian lime olive oil with a honey and ginger balsamic vinaigrette, and
Nice.
it's fantastic.
That's
a
pretty
Persian
good.
lime.
It's pretty spicy olive oil there.
So with the olive oil, it tastes more like the zest of a lime than the inside.
Nice.
You get the oils that you would get
The
from
essence
the
of
skin.
lime.
Essence.
All right. Who's got something next?
Oh, I do. Shout out to the Netflix show Midnight Mass. I haven't finished it yet, but I've been watching it, and it's by my favorite horror director, Mike Flanagan, and it's very, very, very good. Very good. It's the same director as Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor, if anyone has seen those. Also very, very, very good. So go watch it because 'tis the season.
It is. It
Mhm.
is.
All right,
Scary
Brett.
skeletons.
You're gonna bring
Um,
us home with an incredible shout out.
My shout out is going to be a shameless plug for anyone that has the time to go through a very long, multi-endinged, 30,000 word visual novel to go to the itch.io page for Moths to a Flame.
It'll be in the
I-
in the description of the thing, so just go click
Oh,
it down
thank
there.
you.
Ooh.
We have that
Yeah,
capability.
I did all the art for it, and some of my friends did all the other things, and so yeah, just give it a play if you want. All the comments that we've been getting on it, everyone has been reacting very like crazily too. So all of your praise will be appreciated, and all of your negative comments will be cried over as they should be.
Yep. All right. Now I gotta give a very special shout out to this one. I don't know if I've shown this controller yet on stream, but
Yes.
I got the Wild Blue controller, okay? This thing, I didn't know it could do this, but apparently my computer can connect to Xbox Series X controllers without a cable. I didn't know that was possible. So I can now have a wireless controller for my computer, which is pretty great.
The power of Bluetooth.
It's the power of Bluetooth, but see, the weird thing with Xbox One controllers is you needed like a cable that would, or not a cable, but you needed like a dongle to a Bluetooth adapter for some computers, and my computer couldn't connect to them wirelessly. So I didn't think it would work with this, but it works with this, and that's pretty great. All right.
Nice.
With that, it's officially time to end the show. As always, Tuesdays, 7 a.m. Eastern. Find the show on the podcast platform of your choice. Yada, yada, yada. We did it. It's over.
Yeah.
That was the most half-hearted plug.
Well, because it's not over yet.
Life.
The outro's still playing. So.
You gotta let the music
No, I'm
finish.
just saying. I'm just saying. That was great.
Yep.